Hi, Michelle. Can you hear me okay?
Hi, Marcus. Yes, I can hear you. We are all live. Brock and Art both send their regrets, but everybody else is here.
Okay, I can't see the room right now.
Yeah, no, you can never see the room. It would only be me that you would be able to see.
Okay. Um, I'm assuming James is there as well.
Yes.
He is, yes.
You want me to give
Oh.
you some clues?
Okay, I'll just need you to keep me on track because I can't see questions. So,
Yeah,
Michelle, I may need
no
you to
problem at all.
relate.
Yeah,
Uh,
I have the resolutions in front of me as well, Mark. So if you want to just ask for movers and seconders, I'll fill them in and then we can go from there.
Perfect. I can stop by and sign afterwards. So,
Oh, yeah, I'm not worried about it. Thank you. Agendas? Okay, no
yay.
problem.
So I'm assuming we are good to go. So I'm going to call the meeting to order. It is 1 p.m. I would like to thank everyone for coming and indulging as I am out of town today unexpectedly. And I'd also like to thank James for prompting me as I need to be prompted, as well as Michelle. We do have a new council member with us today, Councillor Antoine Hartley. Thank you for joining us as well. We're looking forward to having you on the committee. May I have a mover for the adoption of the agenda?
Just one moment, Marcus. I think Marnie wants to say something.
Sorry, Marcus, you're not in the room, so you can't see that we also have a new staff person joining us at the table today. So I just wanted to introduce Nick Carter, who's our summer student this summer, and will be assisting us with some of the heritage stuff that we've discussed.
Thank you for the introducing. And I look forward to meeting him later in the summer. Adoption of the agenda. May I have a mover to adopt the agenda? I'm not sure, Michelle, if we do.
Yep, sorry. Moved and seconded by, thank you, Jonathan.
Perfect. Any additions, changes? I did receive a couple questions this morning regarding Springfield House. So I know there will be a couple questions from the committee when we get to that point in the agenda. Are there any other additions?
Marnie has one, yes.
Thank you, through you. Just a clarification, the Directors of Operations is not able to join us today to give a briefing on Springfield and Escott. So we will be taking any conversation or discussion back and asking him to provide an update via email following the meeting.
Thank you. With that, I will call the question. All those in favor?
Yep.
Opposed?
There are none.
Okay, thank you. Adoption
Carried.
and receipt of the minutes. We have the minutes from our January meeting. I will ask for a mover for the minutes. So James, seconder.
Yep. Jonathan.
Perfect. Thank you both. Any discussion, changes, omissions?
Seeing none.
Okay, so I will call the question. All those in favor?
3.
Opposed?
None.
Here. Thank you. Is there any declaration of pecuniary interest? I don't think we had
Don't
any
see
in
any.
advance of the meeting. Perfect. No delegations or presentations. So this brings us directly to business. 7.1, the Part 4 OHA designation requests. And I would ask staff if they have any comments on this matter that's before us.
Yes, Marnie would like to speak to this.
Thank you, through you. Just to provide a little bit of context, there was a working group meeting, a Heritage Properties working group meeting last week. One of the things that we discussed in the meeting was that the working group has done a significant amount of work in terms of pulling some information together, but that in terms of resourcing the actual writing of the assessments of the heritage properties to help support the working group, that it was a suggestion that funds be reallocated from the Heritage Celebration Working Grant Reserve Fund to support the retention of a consultant to assist in the finalizing of the statements of significance.
Perfect. And as I recall correctly, two of those will continue to be done by staff, which we'll be talking about in the Heritage Properties Working Group update.
That's correct. I believe that there were 4 of them that we talked about advancing through a consultant. And so I've included the value of $15,000 in there just as a cap. And it's anticipated that this amount would be supportive of the work, the background work, as well as the advertising requirements that would be necessary with the designations proceeding.
Thank you. May I have a mover for the motion, please?
Sorry, James moves it.
May I have a seconder, please?
Jonathan does.
Thank you. Any discussion on the matter?
I don't see any hands raised.
Okay. And again, just for clarity for anyone who's listening, the $15,000 identified is coming out of the existing reserve fund, correct?
That's correct.
Perfect. So with no questions, I will call the motion. All those in favor?
That's 4.
Opposed?
None.
So that is carried. Thank you, everyone. Information items. This brings us to 8.1.1, update on Springfield House and Escott Hall project.
Thank you, Chair, and through you. So as Director Venditti noted earlier, Director Holliday is not able to join us today to provide an update on the project. However, we're going to take down some notes as to the questions that the committee members have today, and then he will share a further update as to the status of the project via email to members of the committee.
Perfect. Thank you. I know there was a couple of questions from the committee, so I'd ask if committee members have questions. Unfortunately, I can't see anyone raising their hand.
Yes, Keith Sly here. Through you. We were very fortunate yesterday to have an actual tour of the town hall building. Ivano, the boss of the site, walked us through. Interesting. And one of the things that we noticed upstairs on the second floor is that the original ceiling in that space was a vaulted ceiling, which is consistent with meeting room, lodge room from that period. And I don't know whether we want to talk about trying to have that part of the restoration, or at least it should be noted in some way. The other thing that obviously I would think we should arrange is an official tour for members of the committee and people from the archives, and which will be an opportunity to record the building as it actually existed when it was first built, because all of the framing has been stripped off the walls. In fact, the original building was plastered right on the brick. There were significant, like 12-inch high baseboards that were allowed for in the brickwork. Anyway, that's the issue that sort of came out of the meeting. I don't know whether we want to have a discussion about that.
He would like to speak.
So I just have a question, just for clarification, so I understand. What you're asking is so I don't know anything about the tour that happened yesterday, or who went through the tour, or who took you on the tour. It
was James, myself, and Donnie, who were the archives people that were there. Everyone else was, Art wasn't there, Pierre wasn't there. At any rate, yes. So it was an unofficial tour, but because we noted that one particular aspect of the building, I thought it should be brought up and discussed here.
Was it Jonathan that took you on the tour? Who took you on the tour?
Ivano, the guy in charge of the site,
Okay.
the mason.
Okay. So what I can do is ask the director of operations to contact we can send out some potential times for a tour. The only thing is it is an active construction site, so safety equipment and those types of
Yep.
things would be required. I would note that the interior of the building isn't designated. And so in terms of the restoration interior to the buildings, the approvals that were given were based on what was presented to the committee in the exterior of the building. So there is no approvals required from the committee with respect to the interior works, but with respect to documenting what was there originally, I don't know what the condition is right now, and I'm looking for you. Is there still, I don't know how stripped the buildings are in terms of
It's stripped right down. The floor on the main level is open so that you can actually see the structures under the floor, as well as I say, all the walls have been stripped right back to the brick, and so the plaster work on the brick is exposed.
So that's the type of documentation that you're looking for. in
That's
terms of-
what it's interesting that obviously the building was designated, I guess, in the 70s, and all of the subsequent work had been done on the building by that time. So none of that stuff was noted or would have been noted.
Okay.
So I think it's just important that we record what the building was like in its original condition whenever it was in 1876 when it was built.
Okay.
This is awkward, but if I could just interject, I did take a dozen pictures and I put them into our working group folder so you too can access those.
Oh, perfect.
Just a question for staff and just clarifying some of the questions that were just raised. I'm wondering if the contractor is doing photo documentation as they're doing the work. They might already be doing that, so that might be one of the questions back to the director. But the other question would be is, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is what I heard, was that whether or not there would be some ability to sort of within the interior works projects, if it can't be exposed, to sort of show that existing vault. Is that correct?
I guess that's what I understand you to be asking, Keith. We would have to talk to the director because we don't know what's been scoped in the RFP and what's been quoted in the work that's already been awarded through tender.
No, well, here's the thing. I mean, it's very apparent from the framing of the ceiling in the upper level that there was a vaulted ceiling. And subsequently there have been 2x10s put across, resting on the top of the brick wall that supported this later ceiling. I mean, as I say, it's evident there was a vaulted ceiling, but none of it remains beyond the rafters and the collar ties that supported it.
Question for staff. Do you have enough information for some direction?
I think we have enough information to understand the questions and can go back to the director of operations with that for sure. And then we'll follow up. Either we will follow up or the director of operations will follow up with some responses and discussion around a tour.
Thank you. Any other questions for the ongoing project from the committee?
Jonathan has a question.
Jonathan.
Use your microphone, or Marcus can't hear you.
I think I was just following up with Keith. Is the thinking that we would like to see that ceiling opened up and maintained that way in its original form? Is that where you're headed
Well,
with that?
I mean, it wasn't part of the RPF, and that would involve more engineering, design, and so. No.
I'm just going to interject if people can speak a little bit more into the microphones, please.
Sorry, Marcus. I wasn't suggesting really that we would go back to the vaulted ceiling.
Thank you.
Other questions? Comments?
No hands are raised.
Yeah, perfect, thank you. So we'll move on to the next item, Leeds and Grenville 175. Staff, I would ask if there's any comments on this item.
Thank you, Chair, and through you. So township planning staff are in receipt of an email from the communications staff of the United Counties of Leeds and Grenville. They are celebrating their 175th anniversary and are doing an outreach to collect some information, photos, and fun facts from each of the member municipalities to assist them in putting together their social media postings for the celebration of the anniversary. They do have 3 categories that they've identified. Historical highlights, so sharing fascinating stories or milestones from your municipality's history. Photo features that showcase the beautiful and historic locations within your municipality. And then fun facts, so sharing interesting trivia or lesser known facts about your municipality. So we would welcome members to share that information, and that can be done directly to the communications coordinator with the United Counties, and staff will share the contact information for that to members so that they can share if they wish. Thank you.
Any questions, comments from committee members?
No hands are raised.
I just have one question for staff. Have they also reached out to the local historical societies as well?
Through you, Chair, we can follow up to verify that. The email communication was a blind copy communication, so we're not certain as to the distribution list.
That would be my only suggestion. I know some of the committee members may have some information, but I think it might also be helpful to them to get information from the historical societies as well. Any other questions, comments?
Marcus, can you see me?
I can't see anyone.
I'm in the Zoom meeting, so I just wonder if we need to do some other switch so you can see me.
Or your camera.
Okay, now I see you.
Okay.
So are there any other thoughts from committee members?
Not seeing any.
Okay, thank you to staff. 8.1.3, timing of the Long Point School designation bylaw update. And I will ask staff to provide an update.
Thank you, Chair, and through you. So this designation update was discussed at our most recent Heritage Properties Working Group meeting. And it was noted that the committee did support moving forward with the bylaw update as was presented at the January 17th meeting of the committee. Staff will just note that in the interest of efficiencies in terms of the cost of advertising, it's our intent to move forward with the notice of intent that's required to be advertised in a local newspaper having circulation when we move forward with other designation updates. So potentially the 4 that we've identified earlier, they could be grouped together and possibly save some funding in terms of advertising costs that way.
I do have a very quick question through to staff. Because this is an amendment, I think we did this one as an amendment under 30.1. Is there still the requirement to advertise within the newspaper?
Thank you, Chair. Staff can take a look and verify that. If there is no requirement to advertise based on it being an update under that particular clause of the Heritage Act, we would just simply move forward with a report to council enclosing the committee's recommendation on the bylaw update. Thank you for pointing that out.
And just one suggestion going forward in terms of some of the other designations. I believe the act now allows for alternative notice if there is a policy in place. And I'm wondering if that would be helpful for the municipality to save some of the costs of newspaper ads.
Marnie?
Thank you. Through you, that's a much bigger question, Mark. Oh, sorry, Mr. Chair. We have to go back and look at all of our notification policies anyway. We're in the process of doing some of that, but given the timing required, that's not something that's going to be done in short order. So at this point, we would prefer to move ahead with the newspaper advertisements as required under the Act, because it's a bigger notification matter that we need to look at for all notifications through municipal approvals rather than just the heritage ones.
Certainly. I mean, as you're going through that process, that would just be my suggestion is just going forward, that might help the municipality a little bit. So,
Thank you. Yes, that's definitely something we're looking at, recognizing the significant cost and timelines associated with newspaper advertisements.
thank you. Any other questions on the designation update?
Not seeing any.
Not seeing any. And CHO conference, did staff wish to speak to that as well?
Thank you, Chair. Just briefly to note that after going out to members to seek as to whether they were interested in attending the CHO conference, we can confirm that the chair, I believe, is attending a single day of the committee of the conference, sorry, in June in Picton. And it would be great to have his summary of his experience there at our next meeting scheduled in July. Thank you.
Certainly. I would be happy to do that. I'm not sure how much I'm going to get out of the one day, but I will certainly bring back my summary. Thank you. Thank you to staff. Heritage Properties Working Group update. I can speak to a little bit of this, but I will also ask through our subgroup members if they want to speak. Heritage signage. I know a couple of the committee members had some comments on that, so I will open the floor if anyone wants to talk about some of the signage issues.
We'll do that then. Through you, Chair. A couple of meetings ago, I brought up the issue of 2 illegible signs in Rockport, and in our working group, I reported that St. Brennan's Church has made moves to replace the sign which is on their property. I in fact have a copy of the quote that they got direct from the sign company in the amount of about $950. And their plan is to rotate the sign to the west to minimize sun damage that's occurred recently. The Cornwall sign, which is again south facing in front of the pub, we're unsure of what's any group taking initiative to replace that at this point. But the church, I did speak to a member of that church board, and they're interested in any financial contributions that are available, and I'm not sure what that process is, so I ask staff about that.
Thank you. Through you, just to add to that, I think that those signs were done through, I believe it was the Rockport Development Group or one of those groups that took the initiative to do those. Given that they're on private property, I would suggest that they come through the community grants application process. I think a number of the signs were funded through that process originally. So they would be eligible to apply through the community grants program for that.
And there's information about that?
There is on the webpage, yes.
But
And it would be a fall intake at this point that they would be looking for, because I believe the spring intake has been done and is in the process of being awarded. So it would be fall intake, which would allow them to potentially do the work over the winter season and have the signs on next spring.
Right.
Are there other questions or comments?
Not
Uh,
seeing, oh, sorry, yes. Keith
Sorry,
would like
through
to
you,
speak.
Mr. Chair. It seemed to me during our the working group meeting, and we talked about the other signs that were possibly going to be repaired, or at least the Marble Rock one. Is that not correct?
That's correct. We did talk about them. I need to have further discussions with the Director of Operations about those. The roads crews will need to go out and look at them, evaluate what's been done and determine what the costs would be. It wouldn't be something that would have been anticipated in the budgets for this year. So it's something that we'll have to take a look at.
I only bring it up so that it sort of gets on the record here.
Yeah, it might be something that they might be able to fit within some working budgets, but I don't know. So we can provide an update after it's been reviewed in more detail.
Thank you. Any other comments? Questions? Not seeing any. We'll move on to 822, Lily Cemetery and Lansdowne Cemetery. As noted above, I'll be working on these two bylaws. The Lily Cemetery is in development, and I will be visiting the archives next. I'm just going to check my calendar quickly. I believe it's next Thursday, to get some of the background information on those. Are there any questions or additional comments?
Actually, Marcus, through you, I'll just include the detail that the working group has this cloud essentially for sharing photos and information. It's very helpful, and we're all able to add independently to that. So it's worth looking at. I might ask whether other members of this committee have access to that, or to date, it's only the working group.
Through you, Chair. Staff can take a look and verify, but if there are any members without access, we can send it out so that everybody's included.
I think would be helpful.
Thank you. Lastly, staff to set up a site visit. So I will ask staff to speak to that now.
Thank you, and through you, Chair. So this was discussed at the working group meeting. I think it would be good for members of the working group to complete a site visit and take some photos of these two properties, as well as the other two under consideration of designation, and to assist with the consultant who's selected to assist us with the statements of significance and evaluation of these properties, to put together as much information as possible to help with costs and efficiencies and time, and moving the potential designations forward.
Certainly. Any questions from the committee?
Not seeing any.
Just question for staff, and knowing the answer, but just for the people who may be listening in. If council does approve the transfer of the funds, when would the expectation be for hiring a consultant?
Through you, we would need to go through the RFQ process, so I can't put an exact timeline on it, but it would probably be a month.
Again, any other questions, comments from committee members?
I'm
Not hearing or seeing any. Thank you, everyone. I will ask Counselor if you have any council update. And welcome again.
No, I'm just kind of trying to feel my way around here. So maybe by next time. I was thinking about the 175 though, and I think Keith has a lot of really fun facts. I think there's a hippo buried somewhere in Sealy's Bay. So, anyways, no, I don't have anything from council.
You. Any other business?
Keith?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I just wanted to bring to the attention of the committee, and I don't, that probably staff can pass this information along. On the drive down this afternoon, I noticed at the Dulcimane Cemetery that there are a lot of pine branches down, and the fence around the cemetery has suffered a bit of damage. I'm fairly certain that this is a township responsibility, and maybe it could be passed on to the appropriate person to deal with that.
I'm just looking to staff if that's something they can do.
Sorry, I was just looking to see, I believe that cemetery. Yep, it's owned and maintained by our township, so I will definitely let the Director of Operations know. Thank you.
Any other business or comments? Again, I just wanted to thank people for indulging me as I tried to do this online, which I have to say is an interesting experience. And thank you everyone for coming. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Moved by Jonathan.
Do we have a seconder?
I need one.
Monique.
Okay, and call the question. All those in favor?
4,
Opposed?
none.
Thank you, everyone. And look forward to seeing everyone, well, whoever's at the archives next week, but seeing everyone else in July.
Thank you, Marcus. Take care.
Thank you.
Michelle, before you shut that down, I'm gonna get Tom to come and figure out why
Oh, yeah.
I can't get on here. Yeah, and
Might be right. I'm only saying that because I thought my screen wasn't working for a week.
So I would recommend you ask Lindsay. to
Oh, your
send
screen
you
is
an
working,
email link
okay,
so
so you
that
just
can
can't get onto the
and I,
camera?
so, yeah, and I've been.
Basically
played with
just
it
a bunch of
back.
folders.
Okay, there, yeah.
Talking about.
So.
I'll go grab pictures.